everyone, you may recognize some of the items in front of me. A hard hat, earplugs, and oven mitts. Each of these things serves a different purpose. You wear one on your head, the other in your ears, and the third on your hands. However, they do have something in common. Each of these items is a form of PPE, or personal protective equipment. PPE is defined in Merriam-Webster as devices used by workers in order to prevent exposure to hazards that may cause injury or illness. PPE comes in a variety of different forms and is present in many different workforces: construction, industry, and even the culinary field. However, today I'm going to be instructing you on how to properly don and doff PPE in the medical setting. Now you may be asking me, Emma, I don't want to be a doctor or a nurse. I don't want to work in a medical office or a hospital. Why do I need to know about PPE? Well, over the past 2 years, we've seen countless images of doctors and nurses dressed from head to toe in PPE fighting COVID on the front lines. But we've also seen family members and friends wearing masks to school or conversing between shields at a restaurant. Frankly, the pandemic may seem like it's coming to an end, but we do not know what the future holds. The CDC states that the transmission of infection between humans can be decreased dramatically, over 50%, just by wearing a face mask. So you can agree that it's important for us to understand how to use PPE so that we can protect ourselves and others from these infectious diseases. The Hartman Handbook of Nursing states that the proper order to don or put on PPE is gown, mask, goggles, and then gloves. Conversely, the proper way to doff or take off PPE is gloves, goggles, gown, and then mask. So let's begin. I'm going to start with washing my hands, or in this case, using an alcohol-based hand rub. Next, I'm going to unfold my gown. You want to make sure that you put on your gown with the front facing outward, like so. You can tell what side is the front by this string here. First, we're going to place our arms through the sleeves. We're also going to pull the back of the gown over and behind our shoulder blades. Next, we're going to run our fingers along the top hem of the gown until we reach the end and hold on to the strings that go around the neck. Once we've got them, we're going to go behind our head and tie the strings. You want to tie it just like you would a shoestring, not too loose and not too tight. You want to make sure you don't double knot it so that it'll be easier to take off later. Next, we're going to grab the sides of the gown and pull them behind us around our waist and back. You're going to wrap it like you would swaddling a baby, and then grab the strings around the waist and pull it as if you were going to tie an apron. Once again, you don't want it to be too tight or too loose. You want to tie it just like you would a shoe, and you want to make sure it's not double knotted. That way it'll be easier to take off later. Next is our mask. I know you guys are very familiar with masks, but just in case, you pull the loops over your ears and press down the nose piece over your nose. You also want to make sure that the mask is pulled down completely over your mouth in order to avoid exposure. The next thing we're going to do is put on our safety goggles. Put them on over your eyes or glasses if you wear them. And the last step is gloves. When I'm putting on my gloves, I like to make sure the cuffs of my sleeves are pulled down a little bit over my wrist. This way, when I put my gloves on, my wrists aren't exposed. Also, when you're putting on your gloves, you want to make sure that the cuff of your glove goes over the cuff of your sleeve. That way, everything stays in place while you're working, and none of your skin will become contaminated. Once you've got your gloves on, they should look like this. Now that we've got all our PPE on and covered ourselves to the best of our ability, let's pretend we've been doing some work and got bodily fluid on our gowns. We're contaminated, but we need to take our PPE off and not get our skin contaminated. First thing you're going to do is take the first 3 fingers of one hand and pinch the palm of the other, pulling off the glove and turning it inside out. Keep that glove in your hand and use your other 2 fingers, slide them under the glove, pull it off, inside out, and dispose of it. The next thing we're going to do is take off our goggles and set them aside. Next, we're going to untie our gown at the neck and waist. If you tie them correctly the first time, you should be able to just pull a string and the gown will come loose. Then you're going to want to push your fingers behind the gown along the top hem and pull it forward so that it becomes loose. Next, you're going to grab an arm or a hand and push behind the gown, pulling your other arm out. You're going to do the same on the other side. This prevents any contamination, and now you've got clean side of the gown to hold on to. Then you're going to roll the gown up, making sure the contaminated side stays inward and you're only touching clean gown. When it's rolled up, you can dispose of it. Lastly, take off your mask and dispose of it as well. Then you're going to wash your hands again, or in my case, use alcohol-based hand rub. I want to thank you guys for learning how to properly don and doff PPE with me today and learn how to protect yourself and others from infectious diseases. Thank you.